Today we're driving the 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor. This has a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. It's the high output version of that V6. It makes 440 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. And today we're going to be taking this off-road. We are at Interlake Recreation Area in Indiana. I'm here with the YouTube fam. We've got Tedward sitting passenger seat, substitute TheTopher in the back. We're going to be taking this off-road through some pretty gnarly terrain. This is an OHV trail. We have some pretty neat features here with the Expedition Tremor. So this is the 10R80 transmission, as a 2-speed transfer case, so 2 high, 4 auto, 4 high, 4 low. We get a few more drive modes in this Tremor. So the normal, tow haul, eco, sport, slippery. Then there's off-road and rock crawl. We have trail turn assist, which you can access through the infotainment menu, and one pedal drive, which has a physical button, and then the locking rear diff. You just push that drive mode button right in there. This has specifically tuned suspension for the Tremor, so there's a little bit of a lift kit going on here. It has 10.6 inches of ground clearance, skid plating underneath the engine, the transfer case, the transmission, and there's something for the fuel tank. I think it might just be a cover, though. I don't think it's a full-on metal skid plate. Yeah, that looks like just like a plastic cover. 33-inch General Grabber all-terrain tires. So these are 275/70 R18s, and you'll notice on these wheels there's a kind of a gold-orange accent here for where the valve stem is located, so you can deflate in low lighting environments very quickly. If you're out at the dunes and you need to take air out of all your tires, maybe you're stuck and you want to get a little bit more traction, you can find those valve stems very quickly with a wheel design, which I think is very cool. This Expedition Tremor is painted in wild green, and it costs $83,025. So the Tremor now is one of the higher trims for the Expedition. It's a little bit more expensive, but it comes with just about everything you would need. It'll tow 7,000 pounds or 9,600 pounds with a load leveler. We've got this new split tailgate, which is very cool. Love to see it. And this is not an Expedition Max, so there isn't as much space behind this third row as we saw in the Platinum that we tested earlier this week. These seats fold down. There's a decent amount of room in the back. This split tailgate, honestly, is really nice to have. You can use it as a table, a seat. And the new Expedition looks good. It's looking a little bit Chevrolet Tahoe, but that's okay. I like some of the interior trimming on this Tremor. The contrast orange stitching looks very nice. And we've got a panoramic sunroof. The Tedward and substitute TheTopher are not standard features. Those are optional extras. Let's take a look at the engine bay. Oh, and the B&O. Oh my gosh, you guys, the B&O sound system in this new Expedition is the best B&O I've ever tested or listened to in a Ford product. It's absolutely amazing. Really clear bass, really clear audio, the rest of the range. It's just fantastic. You can see this has already been off-roaded quite a bit. 15 miles to the gallon in the city, 22 on the highway. And that's the same rating even with these all-terrain tires, which is pretty cool. High output motor, makes a great noise. It almost sounds a little bit like a V8. Maybe we'll get into the throttle a little bit in this video. You guys can hear some of that. If not, check out our Expedition Platinum video. Tons of torque, tons of power here. Really smooth shifting 10-speed auto. Ford's done a great job with this new 10-speed. And we also get Raptor-style running boards here. These are metal, they're body mounted, but they might offer a little bit of protection, and they're pretty low profile as well. The only problem I could see is if you're driving down dirt roads, some rocks might make it through these holes. This also comes with some off-road auxiliary lights in the front. Nice integration there. Not sure how much extra visibility those will show, but we also get recovery points right here. Metal skid plating where it matters. I really like the way this new Tremor looks. It has a really nice aggressive stance. The ride height is imposing and looks like it's pretty off-road capable. Let's look at the back here. We do not have a matching full-size spare tire. It's a full-size spare, but it's just a regular all-season. You can see all Expeditions kind of have this underbody cutoff tip for the exhaust, so that'll help with departure angle. The rear suspension arms do hang pretty low, so I'm not sure if those are going to get hung up on things. They're pretty close to the wheel, so maybe they won't, but I assume that maximum 10.6 inches of ground clearance is calculated from that rear E-locker diff, not those suspension arms. Let's see what our roof rack looks like. Nice, that's pretty solid. Not sure what the rating is, but I'm sure you could throw some rooftop tent some action up there. Hello.
Hello.
All right, well, that feels like a pretty good walk around for this Expedition Tremor. Let's head out onto the trail and show you guys how it drives off-road. This is a pretty gnarly trail. I appreciate that Ford actually takes us to a real trail instead of something that they just kind of designed around the parameters of this truck so that it doesn't bump and scrape. We're going to be going through some mud. We're going to be going through some pretty gnarly sections today. It rained earlier this weekend, so it's still pretty sloppy out there. We've had a dry last couple days, so we'll see what the conditions are like. I'm excited to see what this does off-road.
It's doing the old school Ford chime.
I know. When we open and close doors and turn the cars on and off, Fords get confused and they don't know which chime to play anymore. It's so funny. My Raptor does it occasionally. Yeah.
Legacy chimes.
Exactly. I guess while we're here, we'll walk you guys around this interior just a little bit more too. We have these controversial steering wheel controls, which really are my only biggest complaint about this new Expedition. They're never really the same thing. They're always different. You have adjustments here like your steering wheel tilt and angle, as well as you can adjust your pedals in and out, which is nice. But you always have to be looking at the screen to make the adjustments on these steering wheel controls. Blue Cruise works really well on the highway. We spent a lot of miles on this on the highway this morning, and it was pretty good. It got tripped up on a couple corners, but it's one of the better kind of not quite self-driving, but level 2 driving systems on the market these days. This Blue Cruise 1.4 is a big improvement over the previous generation. We've got auto up-down windows on all 4 corners. Interior materials this interior feels a little bit more special than the Platinum that we were in. It feels a little bit more exciting. There's more color contrasting here with the stitching. The leather, the plastics, they all kind of feel typical Ford. For 83 grand, the interior is a bit of a letdown, honestly, in terms of just niceness and luxuriousness. But it's got lots of space. I like there's grab handles here. The center console moves back and forth. There's a little hidden compartment under there, which is always nice. I love where you can put your cell phone, wirelessly charge it, USB Type A and C ports down there. You can select your gears with this, and this little like phone dial number thing comes up. It's hilarious.
You gotta press that a lot.
You really do. This screen is really responsive. So for climate control, for just doing regular tasks, usually you're going to be using this to control your navigation, and then that's mirrored again up there. You can control what's on this upper screen with this menu right here, so you can kind of change gauges around, different widgets as Ford is calling them, and then you have all your apps. You can play video games in here. There are apps for towing. We might test some of that out today. We'll see. Of course, Google Maps is the native navigation system in this Expedition. 3 settings for auto climate control, heated, ventilated seats, a heated steering wheel. There's also a few quick access controls, like a camera button. Love to see that. Nice and high-res displays. Good use of real estate here on the screen, too. Shows you what's all around. It's not just a tiny little image with some parking sensors and graphics. It fills the whole screen, which I really appreciate. You can turn off auto stop start, parking something or other, and then here's your trail 1 pedal drive and traction control off. All right, a functional interior. Great big honking center console. Fit a big DSLR camera in there. Always like that. Seats are comfy. Lots of adjustment here with lumbar height. Visibility looks good. Nice low belt line here too. Steering wheel. Okay, it's shaped kind of weird, and it honestly does feel weird to use this hand over hand. And it's a pretty slow steering ratio. Fuel range in this new Expedition is pretty impressive. We're at a full tank. We were seeing about 460 miles of estimated driving range.
I think it'll do more.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt if this can do 480 to 500.
Okay, cool. That's great. It's nice to have range. All right, well, you guys get the idea. Let's take this off-road, and we'll see how it actually does on a trail. All right, we are in our off-road drive mode, which puts us into 4 high. So that is a 50-50 torque split between the front and rear axles, and it locks the rear diff, which is probably overkill for this first section of trail, but we're just gonna leave it locked, and if we need to unlock it, we can just press the button. We get a forward-facing camera, a 360 cam, lines that show us where our tires are about to go. Always impressed with the camera systems in Fords for off-roading. Our tires are aired down to 26 PSI, so not running at placard pressures. A little bit lower, but so we'll see how we do today. I do appreciate the forward visibility in this Expedition. It's a nice low hood line.
Truck number 2 and I don't know ours.
The suspension feels pretty good off-road. Not too many shakes and rattles. There's some rough spots here. I think after a day of driving this, I've finally gotten used to the steering wheel. We'll avoid some of these bigger rocks.
I was gonna say that steering wheel might be weird off-road.
Yeah. Off-road mode does leave us in 4 high. If you go into rock crawl, that'll put us into 4 low. Steering returns to center super fast in 4 high. It's got like kind of a springiness to it. This feels solid though. We drove out here in a base active Explorer, so it didn't have the high output 3.5 liter V6, and it didn't have any piped in engine noise, and it didn't sound the same. It wasn't as there wasn't as much induction noise. General grabber tire, comparable to the KO2, the KO3. It's a proper all-terrain tire. I think pretty highly rated, reasonably priced. So it's good to see Ford putting a good off-road tire on this new Expedition. And again, we are not in the Max, so this is the shorter wheelbase Expedition. We should have better breakover angle. I don't even know if they offer the Tremor in the Max configuration. I don't think they do. For every other trim, it's about a $3,000 option. I could use a center line on this wheel. I get crossed up as to where the top of my wheel is, whether it's the top or the bottom, and the steering ratio is so slow here that sometimes I don't realize that I have steering lock and that I'm not completely straightened out. It would also be cool to have cameras right here. But that's okay. This is doing a great job. This is one of the better camera systems in the class.
Seatbelt's keeping me in line back here.
Yeah,
It's locking at all the right times.
You're getting bumped around a little bit. We're covering speed here. We're taking this trail at a good rate.
Yeah.
It's not Raptor soft, but it's also not Nissan Pathfinder stiff. So we're kind of in between. I feel like this is an appropriate amount of damping for low speed off-roading. Again, really impressed with the on-road manners of the Expedition. Of course, this Tremor does have differently tuned suspension from the other models like the Platinum and the Active, but it does a really good job cornering at speed on the road and having a vehicle that does have the off-road capability that this does with kind of that on-road refinement is a really nice thing to have. A little bit of exposure there, nice. Love a Kentucky, Indiana stream. Shed some of this mud here. And again, we said this for the on-road drive. this just doesn't feel like it's as big of a vehicle as you would expect. Inside, it's easy to place. Part of that probably is just the visibility afforded by this dash layout, and you have good sight lines all around, kind of a low belt line here, and that helps with off-roading and placing this in the trail.
The forward visibility is really good. Like, it has the forward camera, but I feel like we need this less than we needed it in a Honda Pilot.
Yes,
That's
true.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these new SUVs and trucks, you are literally driving off the cameras. Like, I've noticed in some of my off-road videos recently, I'm just facing right here the whole time, and I can't see anything out of the front end. And,
especially when you're with a group. There's times when you're like, if I didn't have the front camera, I actually wouldn't know a vehicle was in front of me.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, on those big uphill sections.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise my seating height a little bit. I do wish we just had a button to adjust our steering wheel. Going through the infotainment is tedious. Small water crossing here. Our first real obstacle. Nice.
It's pretty ugly in there.
Yeah. What's he saying? Oh, just camera stuff. Okay. Nice. Yeah, I like that you can run both a 360 cam and a forward-facing cam simultaneously. You can make a lot of adjustments to your 360 cam too, so you can zoom forward, zoom out, in, kind of justify it left or right to either side of the truck, and then you can see mirror cameras, so your extremes on the right and the left. Don't want to scratch. Oops, and we just lost our cameras. Where are we here?
Thank God for hotkeys, baby.
Yeah. But I kind of prefer this with a 360 cam because it shows you everything you need to see. Just not as big of a footprint as you would expect for a big 3-row full-size SUV. This is not a trail specifically designed for this vehicle. It's just a trail that they've brought us to, and I appreciate when a manufacturer does that. It's not like they're catering things to specific ground clearance. We might bump and scrape and rub a few things here and there. We were just in Puerto Rico with the new Honda Passport, and they developed a trail specifically for that launch. But honestly, it was pretty tame, and I was more impressed with what we did at the pilot launch out in Utah.
That was a good one.
That was a really good one. That was a real trail like this.
I apologize again for pinstriping that beautiful blue truck.
I mean, that's the way it was. It was out there.
Someone's already pre-pinstriped this one for us.
Yeah.
I love it when you get in a press car that's already pinstriped. You're like, oh man, that's not me.
We were on a Hummer launch recently. We were going through Hollyoaks, and there was like this one section. It was just like all brush. And I was like, we're going through nature's microfiber here. I was like, that's the best line.
Yeah, they destroy some of this.
Yeah. I mean, with a locked rear diff, a 4-high, 4-wheel drive system, we're not seeing any drama here.
Right, left, right, second right has exposure.
All right, we'll just follow everyone and not hit anything.
Exactly. I trust that you know not to drive off the trail into the ravine.
Into that tree.
Yeah. That tree might actually just, I think this wins.
It might just fall over.
I think that one turns into sawdust.
Yeah. Look at these guys, a little bit of room so we can get some speed through here.
As a passenger, I'm really liking the big panoramic roof because I get to look up at the nature.
Yeah.
I don't get a handle back here like you have, though.
Oh.
I just have a coat hanger for your
Watch that
finely pressed
rock.
linen jackets.
See, there's the benefit of that camera.
Yep. That's nice. We're good. We had plenty of room there. Should try one pedal drive.
I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Trail one pedal drive active. Use set button for trail control. So this is just an on and off throttle system where you just use the gas pedal. Off the gas pedal, it's going to hit the brakes, come to a stop. I usually two pedal drive on a trail with my left foot on the brake.
Good line, yep, right there. Driver.
Great. Nice and close to that tree. And this is a pretty smooth system for one pedal driving. It is an improvement over what I experienced with the Bronco. So it seems to be a little bit more friendly to low speed decel, slowing down. So I can pretty easily modulate my throttle right here. And that was a tight section, and that was the first time I've used this, so probably not the best time to choose to change everything
Make
up.
sure that it's the most
But it
treacherous,
works, yeah.
exposed location where any wrong move could result in a door bashed in by a tree or we roll off a cliff.
Yeah, or we run him off the cliff. Yeah, he was standing there.
I think he had the most exposure.
Sure.
You can always tell the difference between a spotter who's been hit and a spotter who has yet to be hit. Because he's never been hit. He's like, I'm comfortable here.
This is good. No, I might actually use this one pedal drive. I think it's intended for people who maybe aren't used to two pedal driving off-road and maybe are less experienced drivers, but it is a good system on very first impressions, putting it through the paces just there. It is a little bit strange that some of these features are in menus in the screen and others have physical buttons. Like if I wanted to trail turn assist right now, I'd have to exit out of my cameras and go into a separate menu. But if I wanted to lock my rear diff, that's a physical button. It isn't in my Raptor. And then to do one pedal drive, that's a physical button too. But they're all in different places. I feel like they should just put them all in the same spot. All that said, I am just going to turn it off. So we're going to be back to two pedal driving.
I always do that too.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite system on any
Yeah.
car.
Some of these systems, they work well. Some of them kind of freak me out a little bit in that I don't like hill descent control. I never trust it. I like to have my foot on the brake. Get bounced around here in the ruts a little bit. Back to my rallycross days. The Detroit SCCA and Bob's Family Raceway.
Lovely.
Oh yeah. A good bit of muck through here.
That's the good stuff.
Oh yeah. Nice and dirty.
Love the smell of it.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like the smell of burnt swamp scum off the exhaust.
Yeah, really nice.
Get her done.
It's such an undramatic vehicle.
Yeah.
Just as doing all of this with no, I mean, and in terms of like incline and stuff, that's not unexpected that it can do all this. It's just that it's very slick.
Yeah.
And so we got to get some credit to these tires, really.
Yeah, the tires are doing great.
Pretty impressive.
Anything with a rear locker does this. But this is comfortable. There's no rattles. We were just in a Land Rover Defender, and it was very capable. I think it's probably one of the most capable stock vehicles we've ever taken off-road. It did just about everything we wanted it to do at Hollyoaks without any drama, any issues. But man, if it weren't just a complete rattle fest the entire time. Leather on leather, seats vibrating, shaking in the back. The NVH was, it all just kind of blended into the background into one just big constant rattle, but this is pretty tight. It's pretty quiet. And for a three-row SUV, I feel like that is something that stands out with this new Expedition in the class. No rattles from the screens. I feel like every new Chevrolet that we have has some type of creak rattle situation in there.
And that's just on road.
Yeah. And this is chassis flex. There's a whole lot going on here. Take this high line here. It's just bouncing around. Try to take this a little slower for you guys. There we go.
Dynamic seating position.
Yeah.
You're stopping here.
Tedward's like, slow down!
Oh, good. Chris is wide open at the stopped cars. Do a little brake check with the grabbers.
It's funny. I'm probably like one of the few people you trust behind the wheel.
You two are the only people.
But also, I still manage to scare you just better.
You never scare me. It's more like I'm just like, interesting choices.
And then you'll like go into a corner real hot, and you're fine. I know you'll do it, but I'm like, what? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we're good. It's Tedward.
You've been on some back roads with me that I'm like, it's insane you didn't yell at me. I'm like, are you sedated? Why aren't you mad at me right now?
I'm trusting.
You are.
Yeah. What are they saying here? Anything?
Nothing. I think we're just
All right.
regrouping.
Is this like a flat out?
Yeah.
uphill
Yep.
section?
This is the flat out uphill section.
One thing we noticed driving this Expedition on road is that there's very little intervention from the stability control system, the traction control system. Usually you take a corner in a big 3-row SUV and everything's just clicking under the pedal set. And you can feel intervention, you can feel it throttling back, especially every GM product. You can't drive more than 45 miles an hour around a corner. In this, I assume in off-road mode, traction control's off because it says it right there. But overall, as a driving experience, I don't feel like I'm being interrupted with the nannies. I feel like I am very stable, very confident, inspired around a corner, off-road. I feel like I know what's going on. One thing I really like about Fords is their diffs lock so quickly. In a Toyota, it's like you got to turn the wheel, you got to drive 13 feet forward, and then your diff might lock if you're in the right drive.
This might be interesting without the lock diff.
Heard some scrapage from that one up there.
Maybe
Yeah, I'd say lock it. 'Cause they're watching us.
Okay. The rule is, if you might be out of breath walking up that hill, you should probably lock your diff. All right, up we go. Little bump up this rock.
Skid plate?
I think that was something, yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll stay out
Look
of
at
this
this
rut
rut.
here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Rut's gonna drop. Awesome. We'll put our front tire there. Drive around the cameraman. Nice. Gosh, this steering just snaps back to center. This is like, this is where I want to be.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The opposite of an Ineos,
I know.
where you could just
where it
set
just stays there.
and- yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind the steering. The wheel shape is still a little bit weird, but it has to be that way for these screens.
And usually all the things that you don't like about a steering setup on road ends up being beneficial off-road, because it's like, oh, if it's a little vague or if it's a little long in the steering ratio, those are actually really nice to have
Sure.
off-road, because
Yeah.
like if you don't have as much steering feel, then you don't, risk your thumbs.
Yep. Also, with electric power steering, you don't have to worry about your thumbs getting chopped off
It's
anymore.
never
That's a
gonna-
hydraulic and a manual steering thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you have the urge to comment on this video, thumbs out. Just know that it's irrelevant.
But do it anyway, because it's great for engagement.
That's right. In this particular Expedition, we have what seems like a pretty aggressive fan idle. It's a vibration. It's a bit of NVH.
Wob, wob.
Yeah, I can feel it. I don't know if you guys can hear it through the binaural microphones.
Oh, I'm sure their houses are vibrating with their surround sound 5.1s.
You got a big sub. No, I can feel it through the pedals.
I can feel it back here through the floor of the car.
All right, Tedward's gonna drive. We'll get some passenger POV too. But that was fun. That was gnarly. That was good. I feel like we explored some of the capabilities here of this Expedition Tremor. And it looks good with a bit of mud slowing up on the side too. I brought proper shoes for this, but they're in the Camaro in the trunk, which isn't
giving
helpful.
me crap for leaving mine in the Mustang.
I
You left
was.
yours in the Camaro?
I did.
The truth comes out.
I didn't bring my hiking shoes either, Chris. Sorry about that.
Looks like we got a big rock up here, so they in a rut.
Down? Yep.
But yeah, I wish I had a little center guy on the steering wheel because it's hard for me to tell. Turn him up a little bit just in case.
This is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Turn wheel driver. And now back passenger. Yep, good. More passenger. Passenger, come on. Fine, stay passenger a little. Oh.
Great.
Yeah, what I'm noticing is just how insignificant the terrain is to the vehicle. Like,
Yeah.
that in my GX460, that would have maybe been a big problem.
Yeah.
That would have been like a potential, like, try it twice, figure some things out. Uh-oh, did I hit that transmission?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. This is shockingly capable, and it doesn't have an alarming amount of ground clearance. Like 10.6 inches into nothing, but it's not crazy.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
mean-
it's kind of like that average starting point for, like, I don't know, maybe it is class leading. I don't know.
I guess for a 3-row SUV, it's pretty
Yeah.
good. I
It's
think
like
I'm just
what
so
a
used to pickup
4Runner
trucks.
is. It's
Yeah.
what like a Ranger Raptor's 10.7 inches of ground clearance. But this probably is better approach, or this is better departure. Moral of the story is you can do a lot with 10.7 inches. Or 10.6 inches.
Turn the diff lock off. You hear the little chirp of that turbo boost controller. I love a bit of dust.
Mobbing in the Expedition.
Stay right. That's the major.
I find it abhorrent to use a blinker off-road. There's something about that action that really bothers me, and it's hard to describe.
I'm a blinker whore and use it in an empty parking lot at midnight.
I also do, but there's something about being on a dirt trail where I'm like, you know what? This is not the time.
You need to stay right at the line.
This is great for this camera because these are the situations where you just can't see what's really in front of you. And especially when you've got some other trucks with you, if you kind of crest a hill and suddenly you're like, oh, how come I stopped? You're like, oh, because I'm on the roof of another Expedition. That's not ideal. Oh, this is some good, gnarly, muddy stuff. in
There's
there.
skid plate.
This is great. Don't make me stop in this stuff. Oh, there's a nice one. I love mushy off-roading. Something about, you know what it is? I think I just really enjoy low friction environments. And don't you dare say it.
But I'm dumb.
Got all the boys in the car. It's getting rough in here. Maybe we'll have a members only, which is uncut. Whoa, do you see that
Oh,
drop?
that was a good drop.
That's good stuff. I'm gonna go slow over this because that was a precipitous drop.
There she goes.
I love just evacuating a pit. Smell that?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, a bit of it.
We're along for the ride. Front parking sensors blocked.
Good.
Can you hear the exit? Passenger? Yep. Good.
That was awesome.
Cool. You're good?
Wow. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's no spotters. You can spray it a little bit.
Wow, it's just rocks. Yes. I can spray here.
Yep. There it is.
This thing's pretty gnarly. I'm really impressed capability-wise with this Expedition.
It's fun.
I think this is fun. And all right,
Yeah.
It's a big vehicle. We're talking about a 3-row, full-size SUV. Our front parking sensors covered in mud, as they should be, but our camera not. That's actually pretty impressive. It is important, though, that something with a Tremor name does the thing a Tremor is supposed to do, because if they just start throwing that on anything, well, then it like loses all meaning. So it's kind of nice that it still behaves nicely in a little bit of a rock crawly atmosphere. It still has a little bit of that Baja runner vibe, you know. It's not quite a Raptor, but it's soft enough that it can absorb stuff, you know. This isn't uncomfortable to drive with a little gusto off-road. They put the correct tires on it.
Yeah, these dampers soak up bumps.
It's like, this is impressive. I have to pee, and I am not that uncomfortable. So when we were at the factory, we went and did like a rattle test, like a quality assurance. At the end of the line, they take it down this like simulated cobblestone road, some moguls, some uncomfortable terrain outside of the Kentucky Truck Factory, the Kentucky Truck Plant, the KTP. And they showed us like what they do. They run it over some bumps, some hills, and they're listening for rattles in the dashboard and the sunroof and anywhere. And then if they have problems, they bring it in, they secure whatever is loose, and then they can ship it out to their customers. Well, I swear, these Tremors that we're in today, out in the real world on worse roads, are quieter than the one that we tested at the factory.
Yeah.
So I've got to give some credit to the build quality on these things, because we haven't been particularly nice in the rattle department. We've certainly given it some opportunities to shake some things loose. And this one has 874 miles on it, or that's at least a trip odometer. I think every mile of that has been used for these programs at this point. So
it's been a lot of off-roading.
That's like a pretty violent 874 miles. This thing's doing pretty darn good. So look, maybe you're in the market for something like a Raptor, but maybe it doesn't fit into your life, or maybe it's just a little more extreme than you need, or you're just not a Raptor guy. There's the thing about a Raptor guy. I'm sitting next to a Raptor guy, but he's a Ranger Raptor guy. There's an F-150 Raptor guy that may be a little different. But anyway.
You can actually fit places.
Yeah. What's great is that this kind of has a good bit of capability that one might use in an F-150 Raptor, but it's also a 3-row SUV with some storage. So I just think that this is kind of a cool, I'm gonna go a little slower with this one, just in case that was gonna bite it on the nose. But no, I think I need to have a little more trust in the approach angle of this car. All I'm telling you is that for most people, if you've got a family and you want to do the Raptor thing, this kind of takes care of a good bit of it.
Yeah.
Like 85%. 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you need to go 100 miles an hour over these roads, sure, get the Raptor. It's not as soft as a Raptor. You don't get like the crazy Fox shocks or anything like that. But this is tuned really well. It's alarmingly comfortable. I thought I was going to need an on-road review with this, and at some point I'd like to, but like driving it around here, I just feel like I understand what they were going for. And the Tremor name is not just a name. So
yeah, I mean, this is an impressive overall package. It just does everything really well. We did take an F-150 Tremor off-road a few years ago when that first came out, and that is a little bit softer sprung and damped. It's really capable off-road, but in high-speed stuff, it just kind of floated over everything, whereas this was still a little bit firmer, and I think the on-road handling has been a focus here, and it maintains that while still being a comfortable ride off-road through some pretty rough terrain. So it's a nice balance. Not as soft though as an F-150's Tremor, not as soft as what like a Raptor would be. I would love to see what one of these would be like with some Fox live valve shocks. But
it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I think the aftermarket, I think people are gonna do some pretty gnarly like modifications on these to make them complete monsters.
Yeah, this would be a great overlanding vehicle. Like bring the whole family, 3 rows, rooftop tent on top, or what have you.
And also,
Nice.
I mean, we've been in 4 high this whole time, the gearing is low enough that it can play this game. I mean, we haven't done any like real rock crawling or anything, but I don't feel like I'm just leaning on this torque converter or doing any kind of like excess heat damage to it by playing this game.
No, it's fine. Turning radius is good. We have not used trail turn assist yet. Haven't really needed it.
No.
It's also like in a completely separate menu somewhere else. So, I mean, it's expensive.
Yeah, it's
It's
$83,000.
$83,000.
But you don't have to option it out with stuff because it's like this is just what it is.
Yeah, this is the trim. It's fully loaded. It's got everything. If you want to go off road, you get this. If you want to like show up to the valet with 24-inch wheels, you get the Platinum. Everything rattling in here is just our own stuff.
It's our stuff.
It's our phone. It's our recorder. It's our water bottles. It's our bag.
This is so weird though, the steering wheel. Every time I'm in that position where I've got the skinny side down, it's just odd that your hands go from here to here. It's an odd sensation.
That was fun.
It's pretty good.
I enjoyed that. All right, well, cool. That was fun. We'll wrap up here. That's it for the trail driving in today's video. Go check out Tedward's video at Tedward Drives. Chris has a video of this on-road, on Winding Roads YouTube channel.
And a little
bit of dirt road driving?
dirt road
Okay,
drive. So
sweet.
A
Mild
couple
excursion.
no talking videos if you're interested.
Also,
Nice.
it's really good if you're looking to just get like a solid view of the interior and walk around and like get a feel for what it is to be inside the vehicle. Winding Road magazine.
Yes, sir. This thing boogies.
It's kind of quick.
Yeah. It's got like this. It's got like the speed of a Raptor. I mean, the horsepower number is kind of insane, honestly.
You're gonna turn right.
Yeah, when I first kind of entered this event with this expedition, I thought the stupid steering wheel buttons were just going to dominate the experience.
Same.
But there's so much more here to like, and I'm kind of willing to forgive it now.
Yeah, I came in with like a little chip on my shoulder about this thing.
Yeah.
And it has just proven me wrong time and time
It just continues to impress. I think the low points are that, but it's not. You don't have to use it for everything. It's just pedal adjustments and steering wheel adjustments, and the rest of it you kind of get some muscle memory with after using it over time. And the interior feels a little bit cheap for the money, for $80,000 plus, but I like the Tremor treatment. Some of that helps. But man, the rest of it, the sound system is unbelievably good. The best sound system we've ever heard in a Ford. And then
Seriously.
the off-road capability is pretty unmatched, I think. All right, that's it for this one. See you guys later.
Lunch.
In typical Topher fashion, ending the video 3 times and continuing on.
It's just the Midwestern goodbye.